What's your standard? You know, we all have standards. You have relationship standards, or you have a standard for living, or even you have a salary standard. How much are you willing to accept? How much are you willing to take for your next job? A standard is one of the most concrete things that a person can have in their lives that will either raise or it will either lower based on experience, based on history with others, based on relationships largely. So I want to introduce to you a concept that I call standard raisers. In our lives, we will always have encounters with what I consider standard raisers. In the conversation of friends, you always have someone who you meet at a particular time in your life, maybe someone who boosts your self-esteem. Someone who speaks life into you, who gets you to see and to view yourself in a different way than you ever saw yourself before. It could be someone of the same sex. It could be someone of the opposite sex. And now that's when things generally, they usually get muddy at that point, because people can look at these relationships, these friendships, and say, man, they're so great. They speak life into me. I just feel like a different person whenever I'm around them. They make me better. Have you heard these things before? Said these things before? And we take these friendships out of the bounds of what they were created for. Because see, the beautiful thing about a standard raiser is that yes, they will propel you to greater. They will propel you to the next level. They'll propel you to look at yourself differently and much better than how you looked at yourself before. But the opposite side, the reason why they're only a standard raiser and they're not the best thing for you, they're not the best choice for your life, is because usually a standard raiser has things together, or there's a specific area of their life that they absolutely excel in, that they're strong in comparison to your weakness. And you need their strength in that area in particular to get you to the next place, so that you can expect more, so that you can want more and you can want better for yourself. But a standard raiser generally, in comparison to let's say your dreams and your purpose and your desires, generally is a one-trick pony. They have something that they do really well that appeals to you, but when it comes to your life, when it comes to the things that you really desire, the things that you really want, in a relationship with longevity, they don't have what it takes. So for instance, you could have a friend who does really well at boosting your self-confidence and getting you to look in the mirror and really like who it is that you're seeing. But financially, they're not fiscally responsible like you want in a long-term relationship. They're not physically responsible. They don't take care of their health like you want in a long-term relationship partner. So you have to look at a standard raiser for exactly what they are. Someone to get you to raise your perspective when you go out there and you begin to search for a relationship to be in, when you begin to prepare yourself rather. I hope you're not searching. I hope you're not trying to find something that almost seems elusive. I hope you're just simply preparing yourself to be in a place. It's just like opportunity. Opportunity knocks. The only way that you hear it is because you're in position to hear it, not because you're searching for opportunity. Opportunity shows up when you're prepared to answer the door. Now let's talk about in your workplace, a standard raiser. What does a standard raiser look like to employment in these conversations when we're talking about jobs? Well, standard raiser could simply be a job that is a stepping stone, but it could possibly take you from being an hourly employee to being a salaried employee. I remember my very first job, my very first corporate America job that I got. I was really excited about it because I had been freelancing for all these years prior to that. And I had a friend, a really good friend of mine, who he told me, he looked at my resume and he built me up. And he told me that I would have no problems crossing over from being an hourly employee to getting into corporate America. And you know what? When I worked on that resume and he helped me work on that resume, I submitted that resume. He promised me that in a week and a half that I would have them beating down my door. And when I placed my resume out there in the ethosphere, on the internets of things, I got responses out of the wazoo. And I had the opportunity to start out working at a company that didn't really call for much of my talent. It didn't call much of my gifting, much of what I had gone to school for. It really didn't call for a whole bunch of creativity. But what it did do for me is that it changed my expectation. It increased my expectation, and what I expected from the next job when that time came, that I would be well prepared, and that I would see myself as valuable. I would see myself as able to ask for and require X amount of dollars. So my life was not determined by a dollar, but instead my life was determined by a standard expectation. And you have the same standard expectation for your life, and it's going to fluctuate. It's going to drop down if you're constantly around people who are speaking negativity into you, who are looking at you and saying that you don't look like this person, you don't work like this person, you don't think like this person. When you allow somebody to minimize your value, that begins to become your standard expectation. Why do you think that so many people who are in abusive relationships are willing to stay? Because they listen and they buy in, and that becomes their standard of expectation. That becomes their standard of living. It's based off of what the people closest to them begin to invest in words in their ears. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to be around people who really ignite you, who really lift you up. Search for those standard raisers. Be sure that in your friendships that you're not forcing them to become something that they're not. Standard raisers are the rarest thing that you could possibly find in your life to couple with your life, to be able to say, listen, I mean, they're like rocket fuel. They're literally jet fuel for your life. To find somebody that you can link arms with, whether they're the opposite sex or the same sex, to be able to do life with them and to be a standard raiser in their life. Someone who, if they're not fiscally responsible, that you raise their level of expectation with how they handle their finances. If they're not physically responsible, help them to understand what hygienes, what being hygienic is, what being fit and being healthy, what that means. And someone who's not emotionally stable, who's not emotionally available, to help them and to show them what that looks like. To be someone who, in a specific area of someone's life, that you can be that rocket fuel to take them to the next level. Because what will begin to happen is, including yourself, with the standard raiser in your life, the thing that they propel you to, the expectation that they raise you to, when the next relationship comes along, you will have tackled that, you will have won, you will have conquered, because you had someone in your life who began to pour into you and begin to say, listen, you need to look at things this way. And maybe they don't even say anything. Maybe it's just their life. Maybe it's just being around them. Maybe it's just living and seeing exactly how they operate and how they live their life. And it changes something in you to say, you know what? I have a friend, I have a best friend who does X. So I can expect in the person that I want to marry, the person that I want to have a long-term relationship with, that I can have X now. But I want X, Y, and Z. They only have X. So we're just going to leave it at that they are exactly what I need in this season, which is simply a standard raiser. Don't mess up in this season what is meant to be a gift. Don't take your friendships to the place that they were never meant to go. And also in your relationships, make sure that you don't miss an opportunity, because you're already linked. You're already connected. Don't miss an opportunity to glean in this relationship, from this relationship, what they bring to the table. The worst thing that a person can do in a relationship is to completely negate the other person, which you see with people who have that A-type personality, that strong personality that just says, you know what, I don't really want to be on the couch. I want to get out and I want to go and do something. And usually that person is the one who squelches the desires, the destiny, the passions, the purpose in the other person's life, because they're a little bit more docile. They're more easygoing. Hey, I'd rather stay here at the house. And so they become drivers. So you A-type personalities, I'm talking to you right now. Don't allow your relationship to become dominated by your purpose, by your destiny, by your desires, by everything that you want to do. Recognize the reason why you made the decision to have this relationship in the first place. You saw something in this person that maybe was a weakness in you that you desired for it to rub off. Hi, this is Jeremy Gaston. Did you enjoy this episode? If so, feel free to share it with a friend and subscribe to our next episode. If you'd like free books and other materials on how to create deeper relationships and have healthier friendships and to create better employment, be sure to stop by my website, jrmygstn.com, and fill in your name and your email address, and you'll receive free content every week. And as always, go out there and serve better, to love better, to live better.